life in India. Pani puris, dosas, horrible traffic laws, too many malls, and amazing weather, except if you live in Delhi, where you either die of sunburn or live long enough to die in the winter. You just can't beat life in India. It has its ups and downs for sure, but one area where India has been notoriously short-handed is in the video game industry. Yes, of all things, the video game industry. We know what you're going to say, but let's talk about video games in India for a minute. When first arriving in India, one noted how this country couldn't possibly have video games because many of its cities didn't even have stoplights. This quickly changed over time as games like Road Rash and FIFA were featured in the usual cyber cafes and game centers. Tekken 3 and SmackDown would forever be the flavor of the month for whomever was lucky enough to afford it. Forget about the people who actually purchased the machines, though. Arcades were few and far between. In 2002, they were still full of machines from Metal Slug and Dead or Alive. The competitive-minded stuck to Counter-Strike and not much else. One thing reigned supreme in India, however. It wasn't full-blown at first, due in part to the lack of high-end gaming machines, but piracy was an issue. Remembering back to 2001, a full-price copy of Metal Gear Solid, the first Metal Gear Solid, sent one back by 3,000 rupees, on PC. That doesn't sound like a horrible deal, but you can get Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain for rupees 2,300 from your local online retailer. Sure, it's roughly 4,000 on Steam, but that's not all games. Back then, if you wanted something that was distributed directly by the big publishers, you had to find it and pay big bucks for it. Key emphasis on that word, by the way. Find it. Piracy remained an issue, but at times it felt like the only way to really enjoy some games. When Assassin's Creed 2 first released on PC, it was meant to be originally distributed in India around March 2010. This led to delay after delay after delay. This was a game that was affordable at the time for your average PC gamer in India, but you just couldn't get it. Not everyone had high-speed broadband, and even if the draconian DRM had been broken, not everyone wanted to pirate it. It was simply a case of wanting something that should have been available, but wasn't. Then there's Dragon Age Inquisition. This was a game that was first banned in India for some reason or the other, and due to its anti-piracy mechanisms, you couldn't pirate it. How were you supposed to play it then? Well, you could buy an Xbox One and purchase it off the Xbox Marketplace. Surely that's a more affordable option for those in India. However, this issue came up at a time when it was easy to find something else to play, and similar in tone to BioWare's RPG. Piracy in India is still a very sore subject for many in the industry. However, leaving aside the fact that current-gen consoles like the PS4 and Xbox One can't be pirated at this time, and odd examples like Dragon Age, there's also the fact that games are easier to get than ever before. In fact, thanks to services like Steam, you're no longer limited to just the AAA titles. You can easily explore the horrifying difficulty of Darkest Dungeon as enjoy the adventure of the Talos Principle. Want an action MMO to play? Check out Blade and Soul, a Diablo clone that's superior in many ways to the original, Path of Exile, a fun game to play with friends without the latest hardware. Dota 2 and League of Legends have you covered, until everyone starts hating each other and poisoning the community. Even mobile games are ensuring that the vast majority of the country doesn't go gameless. Those who can afford the AAA releases are also having an easier time than before. It's not difficult to pre-order a copy of The Division or even Dying Light Enhanced Edition prior to their launch. Gaming may still be out of reach for the majority of Indian citizens due to a lackluster infrastructure, but the games themselves are easier to get into, more readily available, and some are even more geared to Indians than ever before. So while piracy continues to be a global threat, in India, it's not hard to ignore pirated games, even if it's impossible to get an original copy. What are your thoughts on the current state of piracy and game availability in India? Is it a question of price, or whether you can actually get your hands on the game in the first place? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.